The day my rich girlfriend's first love came back, both the system and I dipped at the same time. 9 damn years, finally over. Story complete. The system was hyped as hell, locking in a $50 million bonus for me before bouncing off to revive my real family back in the real world. The payout was so crazy generous that I caught myself low-key humming while trimming extra stems off the flowers in a vase. I didn't even bother reacting to the disgusted looks my sister and my wife were throwing at me from the side. "If you don't apologize to Julian right now, I'll disown you," my sister snapped. Then disown me. I shot back. I was done. Done with a sister who always backed outsiders over blood, and done with a wife who treated me like a damn stray dog. I genuinely didn't care anymore. Isabella Croft's face tightened. You could see panic flash in her eyes. Probably because in all the years we grew up together, I'd never once shut her down like that. But she recovered quick, switching straight into flex mode. She smugly showed off the makeup and gorgeous dress her brother had sent her, even spinning around 3 full times like she was scared I might miss a detail. Honestly, I found it funny. So I packed my bags, clean and final, and called a lawyer to draw up divorce papers. I wanted nothing to do with this family anymore. And let's be real. Our goals lined up perfectly. We all wanted each other gone. In New York high society, I was known as the clingy husband. People assumed the sterling heiress hated my constant presence. That is, until one shareholders' meeting went sideways. Her phone screen got projected on the wall. Everyone saw it. Her wallpaper was me. My contact name. My dearest husband. Her photo album. Over 10,000 candid shots she'd secretly taken of me. When I found out she'd fallen for me at first sight, but spent 9 whole years pretending not to care, siding with her first love over and over just to crush my devotion, I decided, screw it. Let's burn it all. I called my plastic surgeon. "I need you to reverse the procedures. I want my old face back." She sounded worried. "But you just had your 8th procedure. Another surgery so soon is risky." "Doesn't matter," I said. "I'm not scared." The day I left with my suitcase, I ran straight into Chloe Sterling. "Where are you going?" she demanded. I kept my head down. Didn't say a word. She assumed I was still mad. After a pause, she pulled out a watch she'd won at auction the night before, clearly worth a ridiculous amount. "This is for you," she said softly. "Please don't be angry anymore." "Okay." Right then, Isabella walked in. Her jaw practically hit the floor. "Chloe, isn't that the watch you bid $30 million on last night?" "I thought it was for Julian." Julian coughed and stepped in, smiling shyly at Chloe. I stayed quiet. Chloe hesitated, conflicted, but still handed the watch to Julian. She couldn't even look at me, probably scared she'd see the hurt in my eyes. Truth? I didn't care. Her love for Julian was real. The gifts she sent him overseas every year could fill an entire room. Meanwhile, her own husband barely got anything. The surgery was fast. General anesthesia knocked me out like a nap. When I checked the mirror, my nose and chin were wrapped in gauze, but I smiled anyway. Satisfied. My body, though, was wrecked. Weak. A sharp pain in my chest kept getting worse. I couldn't stop coughing, day or night, and it freaked my doctor out. "Are you sick?" she asked. "Maybe we should run hospital tests." I looked at Dr. Amelia Hayes, one of the only people I truly trusted. Instead of signing, I typed a long message on my phone. "To be honest, I am sick. I'm begging you. When I die, cremate me and scatter my ashes in the ocean. I hate this world, but I don't have a choice." She froze. Couldn't process it. She remembered when I first came to her at 20, asking for surgery. "All right," she said finally. "I promise." The next few days were peaceful. No waiting on Chloe. No staff whispering behind my back. My health tanked fast. I slept nonstop, started coughing blood, but I was still happy. Because I knew I'd see my real family soon. Meanwhile, Julian kept sending me wild-eye messages. Kisses, embraces, clothes tossed across hotel beds. "You know," he texted, "Chloe really wants my baby. She'll file for divorce any day now. Let's see what you do then." In the photos, Chloe looked soft and affectionate, nothing like the cold woman I lived with. The day I got discharged, I came home to see the Sterling staff decorating the ballroom. That's when it hit me. It was Chloe's birthday. In the living room, she and Julian were holding outfits, talking. When she saw me, she bit her lip. "What happened to your nose and chin? Are you hurt?" I shook my head and sighed. "I removed the implants. I'll look like my old self soon." She wrung her hands, uneasy. Why now? You once borrowed money just to look like Julian. I scoffed and signed again. I made myself ugly. Is it a crime to want to look good again? Her expression darkened. Julian noticed too. I'd always been his replacement, so why change now? It's my birthday, Chloe finally said. Dress properly before joining the party. I rolled my eyes but nodded. Divorce papers were already waiting. That night, the party went crazy. Isabella led a swarm of New York elites with Julian on her arm. Instantly, they were the center of attention. Look, it's the Croft siblings. Julian's the one Chloe truly loves. He moved into the mansion after his divorce. What about her husband? He's a mute, follows her like a puppy. Illegitimate son. Pathetic. Laughter everywhere. I stood off to the side, sipping orange juice. Seeing me like that, Isabella marched over with her rich kid crew. Well, got more work done, huh? Doesn't matter how hot you are, Ethan. Chloe will never love you. I told you to divorce her. Happy now? Looking stupid. She ripped the gauze off my face and froze. It was my original face. Why'd you change back? She whispered. He was actually handsome before, someone muttered. The surgery messed him up. If Chloe doesn't want him, maybe we do. It got gross fast. I tried to leave. One guy shoved me hard. I flew straight into the 10-foot birthday cake. Gasps filled the room. The impact triggered a brutal coughing fit. Blood sprayed onto the white frosting, staining it deep red. Chloe ran over. All she saw was me, wrecked, and blood everywhere. Call a doctor, she screamed. I pushed myself up, shaking my head. Pale as hell. She grabbed my arm, panicking. Then Isabella screamed, help! My brother collapsed. Call an ambulance. Chloe hesitated, then let go of me. Take care of yourself. Julian's worse. I need to check on him. She rushed off. The crowd followed. I was left there, alone, ignored, the mute. Then Amelia appeared beside me. Your bandages came off. Let me take you somewhere to get that cleaned up. I gave a small smile and nodded along. We didn't say a word the entire drive, the silence thick as hell, until Amelia finally cracked. Ethan, I don't get it. Chloe doesn't love you. So why do you stay with her and let her treat you like trash like this? Doesn't it mess you up? I dropped my eyes, reached for her hand, and slowly traced letters into her palm. It does. But I have to. I need to finish my mission. When she felt the last word, Amelia's eyes went wide. It clicked for her then. She realized I wasn't there because I wanted to be, but because someone had forced me to stay with Chloe. I didn't explain anything else. I'd already said more than enough. Later that night, Chloe staggered home completely wasted. I found out Julian had suffered a serious allergic reaction to something in the juice at the party and was now stuck in the ICU. Chloe slurred that if she ever found out who messed with the juice, she'd make them pay, big time. Honestly, I found that kind of funny. I showed her a message I'd already typed on my phone. The orphanage is hosting a charity gala and sent you an invitation. You just need to sign it. You don't actually have to show up. If you sign it, I'll forgive you for earlier. Chloe blinked, then let out a low, lazy laugh. All right. If you forgive me, Ethan, will you forgive me no matter what I do? She still wasn't signing, so I forced myself to nod. She immediately scribbled her signature and then threw her arms around me, gripping me tight. She'd found out a few days ago that she was pregnant and had been scared of how I'd react. But she needed an heir for Sterling Enterprises. As long as the baby was born, she wouldn't divorce me yet. After all, she thought she knew how much I loved her. Stone cold sober, I had to choke down my irritation. I hated being touched, especially by Chloe when she reeked of alcohol. But thinking about my brother gave me the strength to put up with it. 3 days left on the countdown. While Chloe was at the hospital with Julian, I burned every single one of my clothes. 2 days left. Isabella sent her people to accuse me of deliberately hurting her brother. I denied it, but Chloe rushed home and had me locked inside my room. On the final day of the countdown, Chloe confronted me, dragging a maid along as her witness. Why did you do it? Why did you hurt Julian? Yes, I'm pregnant, but I'm not divorcing you. Ethan, is it really that hard for you to tolerate his existence? She didn't even let me speak. Right there, in front of Julian, she had me tied up. Julian, she said coldly, do whatever you need to feel better. Julian wiped away fake tears, his eyes shining with pure victory. The bodyguard lashed me again and again with a whip. I tried to sign an explanation, but my hands were tied. My chest tightened, my lungs clogged, and I started coughing violently, blood spilling from my mouth as I struggled to breathe. The only thing I could do was reach out to the system in my mind. Send a message to Amelia. Don't let my body fall into Julian's or Chloe's hands. The system confirmed the request. I drifted in and out of consciousness, watching the final minutes on the countdown slip away. With 5 minutes left, Amelia burst in. "How could you let this happen to you?" she cried. I managed a weak smile and struggled to sign. "Thanks for coming for me. I'll pay you back someday if I get the chance." In the ambulance on the way to the hospital, I saw the timer hit 0. I finally breathed out in relief. My hand went slack. Amelia held me close, her eyes red and swollen with tears. Chloe was at her office trying to work, but every document she signed just made her more irritated. She couldn't believe I'd actually try to hurt Julian. In her mind, Julian beating me was already letting me off easy. Then the mansion's landline rang. "Miss Sterling, you need to come home. A woman just took Mr. Vance away. He was unconscious." Chloe floored the gas and raced home, only to be met with a massive bloodstain smeared across the floor. Her brow creased as she stared at the shaking maids kneeling there. She grabbed a priceless vase and smashed it to pieces. Inside, Julian was thrilled. I was finally gone. But on the outside, he put on a pitiful face. "Chloe, please don't be mad. Maybe Ethan planned to run away with someone else all along." Chloe snapped her head toward him, her stare icy enough to freeze blood. Julian lowered his head guiltily, but not before shooting a look at one of the maids. The maid caught on and spoke up softly. "Ma'am, Mr. Croft might be right. That woman seemed very close to Mr. Vance. Maybe they've been involved for a long time." Chloe's frown deepened. She shot the maid a single glare that shut her up instantly. Later, in the security room, Chloe watched the footage of me bloodied and barely conscious on the floor. A sharp pain stabbed at her heart. She couldn't make sense of it. Was it really that hard for me to admit I was wrong? Did I have to be so damn stubborn that I got beaten half to death? And when she saw another woman helping me up, Chloe's fists clenched even tighter. It was Amelia Hayes, the famous plastic surgeon who had done all my procedures. The more Chloe thought about it, the angrier she got. She remembered me saying I'd had my implants removed. Who did that surgery? Amelia? Julian took his chance, gently wrapping an arm around her. "Chloe, you saw the footage. Ethan left with her willingly. I'm sure he's fine. You should rest. You need to be careful now that you're pregnant." Chloe paused. The baby had been conceived during one drunken night. Was that why I lashed out at Julian? Ridiculous. Her obedient little lap dog had actually grown a backbone and run off with another woman. Chloe's expression darkened. She barely heard Julian anymore. "Chloe, are you mad at me?" Julian asked softly. "Do you think I went too far with Ethan?" But my allergic reaction was so painful. Chloe felt a weird twinge in her chest, annoyed that I was still messing with her emotions. "I know. I'm not mad at you, Julian. I just think Ethan's gotten way too bold, running away from home like that." Julian immediately relaxed. "I knew you wouldn't blame me. Ethan's just acting like a kid. Way too stubborn for a grown man." Normally, Chloe would have agreed. But right now, she was exhausted. Where could I even go, injured that badly? Probably a hospital. I'd crawl back in a few days, or maybe she'd graciously go find me herself. With that thought, Chloe leaned against Julian and ordered her security team to monitor every hospital in the city. But Amelia wasn't taking me to a hospital. She was taking my body to a crematorium. She couldn't wrap her head around it. The friend who'd just been on her operating table was now a cold, lifeless body in her car. Thinking about Chloe made Amelia's heart ache, but maybe this was freedom. Ethan was finally free from the hell he lived in beside Chloe. She wiped away a tear and carefully dressed me in a fresh set of clothes her assistant had just delivered. I looked peaceful with my eyes closed, which only made it hurt worse. After a long pause, she steadied herself, handed my body over to the staff, and watched as I was wheeled toward the incinerator. On the monitor, my body slowly moved deeper into the chamber. Suddenly, the viewing room door flew open. Chloe Sterling stood there, furious. She never imagined that after her guards reported I was missing, she'd track Amelia all the way to a crematorium. She stormed in, ready to demand where Amelia had taken me, until she saw the face on the screen. Her blood turned to ice. She told herself it couldn't be real, but the face staring back at her was mine. Impossible. Chloe's body shook, and she collapsed. Amelia looked down at the unconscious Chloe and scoffed. "Chloe Sterling, The unstoppable force of their social circle, flawless since childhood, the peak of their generation. But after learning what she'd done to me, Amelia felt nothing but disgust. A genius in the boardroom, but a complete fool in her personal life. Too blind to see right from wrong, letting others torture her own husband. The cremation ended quickly. Amelia placed my ashes into an urn with shaking hands. She couldn't bring herself to scatter them into the ocean yet. If she did, it would feel like I was truly gone for good. So she made a decision. She would hold a funeral for me first. The news hit their social circle like a bomb. Even Amelia's parents grilled her about what was going on between us. I mean, everyone knew me as part of the Croft family and Chloe Sterling's husband. Logically, they should have been the ones handling the funeral. Amelia stepped up, explaining my years of suffering to her parents and making it crystal clear that we were just friends. Finally, the hazes relaxed, and instead of throwing fits, they jumped in to help their daughter with the arrangements. Meanwhile, Chloe stayed in a coma for a full day and night. Her assistant and bodyguards were losing it. If she didn't wake up in time for my funeral, they knew she'd roast them alive later. And Julian? Man, that guy was busy putting on his concerned friend act at the hospital while gossiping on the phone like a total jerk. You guys don't get it, he bragged. I was just putting on a show for her. Dude, seriously? A replacement will never touch the original, one friend said. Exactly, another chimed in. She's in love with Chloe. How's that mute loser even supposed to compete? So, are you hitting the funeral? Another friend asked. Julian sneered. Hell yeah, you guys should come with me. I want to watch that idiot's final act. Chloe, just waking up, overheard every word and felt a wave of pure, crushing disappointment. He was faking concern for me, while secretly wanting me dead. Her head spun, and she passed out again. Back at the Croft house, Mrs. Croft watched the calls flood in, her face twisted in anger. That bastard, is he really gone? Even dead, he's still messing with our family. Mr. Croft came out of his study, looking utterly disappointed. And whose fault is that? You birthed a mute. All he's done is embarrass us, unlike Julian. Perfect, considerate, the whole package. Mrs. Croft pouted and handed a peeled orange to Isabella. Listen to your father. Isabella didn't even look up from her phone. Honestly, you're both tripping. Julian said he got beat up, not killed. That mute's tough as nails, he bounces back every time. Mr. and Mrs. Croft nodded, deciding to hit the funeral themselves, just to see if I was really gone. Meanwhile, I woke up in my own bedroom. The first thing I noticed was the familiar, simple decor, a far cry from the cold, black and white hell of the Sterling mansion. I checked my phone. Only 9 hours had passed in my world. Those 9 years with Chloe had felt like a long, suffocating nightmare. Finally, it was over. The image of Amelia, tear-streaked in the ambulance, flashed in my mind. A pang of guilt hit me. I'd caused her so much chaos. Then my phone rang. Mr. Vance, the hospital, your brother's awake. Seeing Leo, my eyes flooded instantly. The system hadn't lied. He was really awake. He smiled faintly. Ethan, I lost it, throwing my arms around the brother I hadn't seen in what felt like 9 years. Doctors and nurses watched, murmuring about a medical miracle. Through tears, Leo studied my face. Ethan, you must have suffered while I was out. I shook my head. No, bro. I mean, you were only out a few weeks. He gave a bitter smile. Even unconscious, I saw another world. There was a boy, exactly like you, but mute. He got bullied, beaten to his last breath. I couldn't do a thing. My gut told me that boy was you, Ethan. All the pain and injustice I'd suffered came crashing out. My eyes burned. I remembered that car accident. He'd been saving me. This was my only chance to save him. He was all I had left. Meanwhile, Chloe remained comatose for 2 full days. She finally stirred late one night, throat raw, bodyguards dead asleep outside. Furious, she swept her bedside table clean, lost balance, and crashed to the floor like a pathetic mess. Back in her hospital bed, she glared at the bodyguards. Where's Ethan? Why isn't he here? No one dared tell her the truth, stammering like scared little kids. Finally, her assistant braved it, handing her a tablet with an email from 2 hours earlier. Title, Divorce Agreement. My signature was already there, dated over a week ago. Tension slammed the room. Chloe stared at my familiar scrawl, then laughed. Crazy, loud, unsettling laughter. The staff exchanged worried glances. Then she slammed the tablet down and screamed, "Ethan Vance, you got some nerve. Not even showing up, and now you want me to sign divorce papers in your dreams. Go find him, do whatever it takes. Bring him to me." No one moved. Her glare soured further. Even her own security team froze. "Ms. Sterling, Mr. Vance has been cremated. You were there. Saw it yourself. Please, don't make this harder," her assistant stammered. Still thinking about year-end bonuses, he added, "Miss Sterling, you need to face reality. He's not coming back. Funeral's tomorrow." Chloe collapsed to the floor, as if all strings had been cut. Her mind replayed the crematorium monitor, my face completely blank. Was that really me? No, couldn't be. I loved her too much to leave. Then she thought of Amelia Hayes. It had to be her. Maybe this was just some tantrum, a staged act with Amelia to make her jealous. Yes, that had to be it. A confident smile crept across her face. The next day, Chloe rocked a sharp black suit, smiling, though darkness lingered in her eyes. By the time she arrived at the funeral home with her entourage, a crowd had already gathered, hungry for drama. Julian saw her and lit up. Arms slung around her shoulders, he asked, "Chloe, you all right? Your secretary said you were out cold." Chloe shrugged him off. She wasn't here for him. She was here to bring me home. Seeing her with Julian? Jealousy would have killed me. Ignoring him, she marched straight to Amelia, standing by the memorial portrait, and grabbed her wrist. "Where's Ethan? Tell him to come out. We're going home." Amelia's parents gawked, but Chloe waved them off, signaling bodyguards to grab Amelia. She shook them off. "Still confused, Miss Sterling? Splash some cold water on your face. Look around. You're at your husband's funeral. I can't magically bring him back. I want to see him, dead or alive. He's my husband. You outsider have no right." As the women squared off, Julian shot a glance at his sister, Isabella. She stepped up, announcing to the crowd, "If you ask me, my mute brother isn't dead. Quiet ones. Toughest ones. This is all just Amelia and him embarrassing the Crofts and Miss Sterling." The crowd murmured, hurling insults at me. Chloe's eyes narrowed. Could Isabella be right? Was I being childish, reckless? Amelia snapped. She slapped Isabella across the cheek. "Are you even human? Your own brother's dead, and you call this an act? Does your family have any damn shame at all?" The whole scene blew up fast, pure chaos. As Amelia and Isabella went at each other, neither one willing to back off an inch. Chloe finally snapped and ordered her bodyguards to pull them apart. Then she turned toward Amelia, trying to shove down the weird, twisting feeling in her gut. "If you're saying he's dead," she said flatly, "then where's the body? Where are his ashes? Without proof, why the hell should I believe you?" Amelia laughed, a sharp, cold laugh with zero humor, and said nothing about any ashes at all. "Did you forget why you fainted at the crematorium?" she shot back. "And didn't you get those documents in your email? Whether Ethan is really dead or not, come on. Deep down, you already know." The image of my face flashing on that monitor slammed back into her mind, and a brutal, uncontrollable pain clenched her heart. She kept telling herself I was just angry, that this whole funeral thing was some twisted move to force her to publicly apologize to me. But I never showed up, and Amelia kept insisting I was gone for good. So who was she supposed to believe? Chloe couldn't understand why I hadn't revealed myself. She had already swallowed her pride and come here. What more could I possibly want from her? She knew I loved her to the core, that I bent over backward to please her, never once turning down any of her demands. Secretly, Chloe had always enjoyed just how much her mute admirer cared about her. And yet, sometimes I felt distant. Cold. I never asked about the marks on her neck. When she came home late at night, I never questioned where she'd been. Before she even realized it, tears were streaming down Chloe's face. Maybe, just maybe, she really had messed everything up. Maybe that was why I'd never come back. Her phone buzzed. Panicked, she unlocked it, her heart pounding. She thought it might finally be a message from me. Instead, her screen filled with hundreds of videos, clear, brutal proof of the abuse I'd suffered at the hands of the Croft family. The clearest video showed Julian, lying in his hospital bed, deliberately punching his own face just to frame me. Chloe was completely shaken. She'd known Julian her entire life. He was supposed to be gentle, kind. Not this. But the photos and videos didn't lie. This wasn't fake. This was real. Her hands shaking, Chloe called her assistant. "Find an expert. Now." I want every single one of these videos and photos authenticated, right here, in front of me. And nobody else is to know about this. Not a soul. A few hours later, she stared at the report, her face grim. All of it was real. She randomly tapped one of the videos. Julian's voice, thick with contempt, filled the silence. You'll only ever be a stand-in. Chloe's crazy about me. How does a pathetic mute like you even have the nerve to be near her? That was it. Chloe completely lost it and hurled the phone against the wall. It shattered on impact. She couldn't believe it. The man she thought she loved was a straight-up two-faced monster. And then what about me? How much pain had I been in when I heard those words? Get all 4 Crofts over here, she ordered coldly. Tell them I'm inviting them to dinner. The Crofts were thrilled. Mrs. Croft, especially, was excited, already planning to show off her most expensive jewelry. When they arrived, Julian noticed there were fewer staff around than usual, but he brushed it off. Where's Chloe? He asked the assistant. Why isn't she here to welcome us? Before he got an answer, a group of intimidating bodyguards surrounded the family. A tight knot of fear twisted in Julian's stomach. Chloe finally spoke, her voice calm, but deadly. Do any of you know where Ethan went? Isabella snapped instantly. Chloe, what is this crap? That mute has his own legs. How should I know where he went? Let me go? Is this how you treat the sister of the man you're in love with? Chloe looked straight at Isabella's smug, arrogant face, and suddenly remembered all the times Isabella had screamed at me with that same nasty attitude. Something inside her snapped. She grabbed a stun baton from her assistant's hand. Who? She said coldly, bringing it down hard. Gave you permission to talk to me like that? The baton struck. Isabella screamed as her body convulsed, then collapsed unconscious. Julian was terrified. He crawled forward and clung to Chloe's leg, looking absolutely pathetic. Chloe, what's wrong? Why are you so angry? Please don't get upset. It's not good for the baby. Once upon a time, that act would have melted her heart. Now, all she felt was a pain sharper than anything she'd ever known. She instinctively touched her stomach. If I was really gone, she whispered, then what was the point of this child? She looked at him, her voice hollow. Julian, what happened to you? Why would you frame Ethan? You were never like this. Julian stammered, desperate. Chloe, I love you too much. It hurts seeing him with you. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Chloe looked down at his hand gripping her clothes and violently tore it away. She knew it right then. She was disgusted by him. Completely done. She didn't want to hear another word. She threw the phone, still playing the videos, at Mr. and Mrs. Croft's feet. Mrs. Croft went pale. Miss Sterling, Ethan is our son. We adore him. We'd never bully him. Mr. Croft nodded with a fake, slimy smile. He was always withdrawn. What you saw was just discipline for misbehavior. We're his parents. We'd never hurt him. Those videos must be fake. Chloe, dear, for Julian's sake, you can't do this to us. Chloe let out a cold laugh. How had she ever missed how shameless these people were? She played the security footage, clear as day, including a long clip of Isabella beating me senseless. The 3 of them collapsed, still trying to lie through it. You don't deserve to be his parents. Seeing them like that only fueled Chloe's rage. I had always been too gentle, never telling anyone when I was hurt. Then a horrifying thought hit her. Had Ethan stayed silent because he thought she wouldn't believe him? That she wouldn't protect him? Teach them a lesson, she ordered her guards. As she turned to leave, she stumbled and fell hard. A sharp, terrifying pain ripped through her abdomen. Something was very wrong. Call 911, she gasped. Later, the young doctor approached her, his face serious. Miss Sterling, you're not pregnant. What you experienced were symptoms of a phantom pregnancy. Chloe froze. But the test last week was positive. Are you sure? Yes, the doctor said carefully. It appears you were taking a drug, something designed to induce those symptoms. The ultrasound is completely clear. Chloe narrowed her eyes, remembering how pushy Julian had been about sending her to the doctor. Suspicion bloomed, but more than that, she felt an odd sense of relief. Without this child, maybe she wouldn't hate herself so much anymore. She stayed in the hospital to recover, anxious and aching for me. She couldn't sleep and started taking sleeping pills. The first night, she dreamed of me, a boy in a school uniform, laughing with friends. The dream vanished quickly, and she woke up drenched in sweat, staring at the empty hospital room. The next night, she took more pills. This time, she dreamed I was painting in a room. Even shorter. Gone. Realizing the pills were the key, Chloe began recklessly upping the dosage, desperate to see me again. Soon, she was sleeping 20 hours a day. Her assistant and the doctors caught on fast. Horrified, they had no choice but to pump her stomach. When she finally woke up, her eyes were empty. Her heart felt hollow. The doctors refused to give her any more pills. She could no longer dream of me. Back in my own world, I started feeling like something was off. Life looked normal, but I constantly felt watched. And the headaches wouldn't stop. Then one day, I collapsed during a lecture. My brother Leo freaked out and rushed me to the hospital for every test possible. The doctors found nothing, but it kept getting worse. Deep in my soul, I felt a strange pull, like someone, somewhere, was desperately searching for me. The thought hit me out of nowhere, sharp and unsettling, and the very first name that popped into my head was Chloe. Could this whole mess somehow be tied to her? Not long after that, while I was catching a nap, the system showed up again. Warning: Chloe Sterling's intense emotional distress is destabilizing your soul. It is strongly recommended that you return to her world. Failure to comply will result in irreversible damage to your physical body. And if I don't go back? I asked. Then you will likely become critically ill and eventually die. Your soul has been linked to hers for far too long. This is beyond the system's capacity to fix. A heavy wave of helplessness crashed over me. Fine, I'll go back. But you never mentioned these side effects before. I'm going back with my brother Leo. We'll need new identities, and I will not be mute. The system agreed and gave me 3 days to get ready. Leo and I packed fast, told our friends we were heading abroad for a while, and then stepped into the portal together. Back in her world, unable to dream of me anymore, Chloe completely unraveled. She ran to psychiatrist after psychiatrist, but none of them could help. One even suggested she might be having a psychotic break and pushed for a full psychiatric evaluation. But Chloe knew she wasn't crazy. She was just missing me. That invisible pain hit her every night, leaving her nerves shot and her emotions fried. Down in the basement of her mansion, Isabella lay sprawled on the floor, half dead, her arm broken. Mr. and Mrs. Croft were crouched in a corner, silent and terrified. The moment Julian saw Chloe, he scrambled toward her. Chloe thought she'd been merciful with Julian. She hadn't tortured him. She'd only locked him in the basement with the rest of his family. "Chloe, I was wrong," he sobbed. "I shouldn't have hurt Ethan. But I only did it because I love you so much, and we have a child together. You can't be this cruel. Please, Chloe, let me go. I swear I'll never do it again." Chloe rubbed her pounding temples, glanced at her flat stomach, and let out a hollow, almost broken laugh. "Julian, the doctors say I was never pregnant. Multiple doctors confirmed it was a phantom pregnancy." The color drained straight out of Julian's face. His lips shook, but no sound came out. Chloe found it darkly amusing. She finally understood why she'd never gotten pregnant with me in 9 years, yet somehow conceived with Julian after just one night. The whole thing had been staged. Then she remembered the day Julian took her for that checkup, the same day she'd seen the lung cancer diagnosis in my hand. The memory filled her mouth with the metallic taste of blood. I had been sick, and I'd hidden it from her. Her fists clenched. Still, part of her felt relieved that the child had never been real. Just then, her assistant rushed in. "Miss Sterling, Julian Croft's ex-wife is here. She says he was drugging you to fake the pregnancy, and that he drugged you the night you were together." Chloe froze for a second, then marched into the living room, where a blonde woman was waiting. "Miss Sterling, I'm Julian's ex-wife," the woman said. "Honestly, our divorce wasn't even finalized when he ran back here after my company went bankrupt." She handed over a thick file stuffed with evidence, sworn statements from the doctor who faked the pregnancy test, transaction records for the drugs Julian bought, everything. "He wiped me out financially," she said. "I'm telling you all this because I need your help getting my money back." Chloe's knuckles turned white as she gripped the file. She knew Julian was messed up, but this was next level. What else had he done? When her assistant confirmed all the evidence was legit, a scorching wave of rage flooded her veins. "Where is Julian?" she roared. "Bring him here. Now." A nearby maid, pouring water, felt a chill crawl down her spine as the bodyguards dragged a ghost-white Julian into the room. "I'll ask you once," Chloe said, her voice low and lethal. "Did you drug me?" "Of course not, Chloe," he cried. Her restraint snapped. She slapped him hard across the face. I gave you a chance to tell the truth, she screamed. Why, Julian? Why would you do this? Haven't I always treated you well? The sting on his face was nothing compared to the sheer panic when he saw the evidence file lying on the floor. Chloe, I just wanted you to divorce him. I thought a baby would give you the guts to finally leave him. Chloe laughed coldly and grabbed his jaw in a crushing grip. How clever of you, drugging me just to get what you want. She shoved him away, and he collapsed onto the floor, completely ignored. One of the maids, seeing the shift, instantly knew Julian was done for. She dropped to her knees in front of Chloe. Miss Sterling, I have something to tell you. Mr. Croft's allergic reaction, it was staged. He did it to himself to frame Mr. Vance. I have proof. She pulled out her phone, showing iMessage logs and transaction records. A cold dread washed over Chloe as she scrolled through messages detailing reports the maid had sent Julian about Chloe's movements. The final message was a voice note from Julian, ordering the maid to pin everything on me, no matter what. So I'd been framed, and she had personally handed me over to him. A sharp, twisting pain gripped Chloe's chest. Sweat broke out on her forehead. Seeing her distress, the other maids finally spoke up. Ma'am, Mr. Croft was brutal, one said. He made us dip the whip in hot sauce. When Mr. Vance passed out, he had cold water thrown on him to wake him up again. He threatened us, another added. Told us to keep quiet. Julian's eyes went wide with terror. He crawled toward Chloe, crying, but the bodyguards kicked him away. I can explain, Chloe, please. Chloe ordered them to gag him. She couldn't stand another second of his fake apologies. Now she finally saw him clearly, a manipulative liar who had drugged her, framed me, and betrayed her trust. Her mind spiraled. Julian had played her like a fool, and she'd helped him do it. She couldn't stop wondering. If she'd seen his true colors sooner, would I still have been hurt? Would I still be alive? Make Julian suffer, she said flatly, and fire all these maids. The massive mansion fell silent again. But for Chloe, the pain went straight to the bone. She remembered every time she'd accused me. Every moment I desperately tried to explain myself through sign language. The irony crushed her. She hadn't believed me. She hadn't even let me defend myself. She judged me based on her own biased assumptions. Memories from the past 9 years flooded her mind. The secret thrill she felt when I comforted her. The jealousy toward my female co-workers. The smug satisfaction when I cherished even the simplest gift from her. Even when I changed my face back, her first feeling wasn't suspicion, it was excitement. I was more handsome, more noticeable, and it made her insecure. Looking at the blood on her own hands, Chloe let out a broken laugh. She had fallen in love with me without even realizing it. And now she was only seeing it when it was too late. I was gone, and she, my unworthy wife, didn't even have my body or ashes. I must have hated her so damn much. Chloe didn't remember leaving the mansion. Her thoughts were pure chaos, laughing one moment, sobbing the next. Somehow, she ended up in her usual private booth at a high-end bar, ordering shot after shot of the strongest liquor they had. The alcohol burned her stomach, sending her into violent coughing. Her face went ghostly pale, and she couldn't stop retching. She missed me like hell, and since she couldn't see me, she tried to drown the pain in booze. She stared at her pathetic reflection in the mirror and smiled bitterly. She wanted to hold me, to apologize, to tell me she loved me. She'd do anything, repent, kneel, beg, anything, if only I would come back. She drank until the room spun and her head throbbed. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she saw a figure walk past her booth. The man's back looked just like mine. Her breath hitched. Ignoring her numb legs, she stumbled out and saw a familiar profile near a door down the hall. I had distinctive eyes, a straight nose, sharp features. I was tall, someone who always the black belt called out a black janitor and asked him to spar just for fun. The whole gym went dead silent. Hey you. Yeah, you cleaning over there. How about a quick demo? Derek Mitchell yelled from the center of the mat, his black belt gleaming under the harsh fluorescent lights. Bet you've never seen a real fight, huh? James Washington paused mid-mop and slowly looked up. He was 42, had been janitor here for 3 weeks, and usually came in late after the students left. But tonight, the advanced class had run way past schedule. Don't want to bother you, Sensei, James said calmly, going back to scrubbing a stubborn stain. Just finishing up so you can get back to training. Derek burst out laughing, loud and dramatic, echoing through the gym. Huh? Who do you think you are? One bodyguard snarled. Mr. Vance is here for a business meeting. You trying to snag a rich man? Back off, or we'll make you. Plenty of women try to get Mr. Vance's attention, another added. If you're gonna try, at least put some effort into looking presentable. Chloe glanced down at herself. She was rocking the same clothes from 2 days ago, stained with dried booze, smelling sour. Heat of shame flushed her cheeks. I glanced at her, cheeks red, clothes a wrinkled mess, and felt a flicker of surprise. Chloe had always been pristine, never smashed herself with drink. Why the hell did she look like a wreck? Hearing my old name caught me off guard, but honestly, didn't matter. In my new life, I was the heir to the Vanguard group. Chloe had no power over me, and she definitely couldn't help Julian hurt me anymore. I waved my security off. Get rid of her. Don't know this woman. Then I slid into the private room. The second Chloe heard me speak, she froze. Mute. I couldn't possibly speak. Had she messed up? Then it hit her. She remembered my face on the crematorium monitor, the sharp stab of recognition in her chest forcing her to bend over. Did you hear him? Get lost, one bodyguard snapped. When Chloe hesitated, they shoved her hard. She hit the floor, sharp pain in her back shocking her awake. Frustration washed over her. Mad she hadn't brought her own security. Matter that this dude who looked exactly like me wasn't mute. And yet, she couldn't deny the surge of hope she'd felt seeing him. Chloe returned to her booth, mind racing. Replaying it all, the voice, the stance. Then she noticed it. When I'd talked to my bodyguards, I rubbed my fingernails. A habit. My exact habit. The first thing I did before signing. Coincidence? Hell no. She called her assistant immediately. Find out if a young Vance heir just arrived in New York. I want everything, especially photos. After changing into fresh clothes, Chloe pulled up a chair outside my booth. My bodyguards moved to remove her, but the bar manager stopped them. Don't touch her. That's Chloe Sterling, head of the Sterling family. You might be new, but don't mess with her. The two bodyguards froze, suddenly nervous. Chloe wasn't planning retaliation. They just followed orders from the boss, probably Ethan. She got why he'd be pissed seeing her again. An hour later, her assistant arrived with a file, cautiously flipping it open. Ethan Vance, 27, heir to the Vanguard Group, just back in the U.S. Older brother Leo Vance is reportedly in poor health. He's overseeing a new Vanguard Group investment in New York. Chloe impatiently flipped pages. Page after page detailed a driven, career-obsessed man. Other than the physical resemblance, this Ethan Vance had zero in common with the mute I used to be. She tossed the file aside in frustration just as the door to my booth opened. I stood there, smirking. Miss Sterling, pleasure to finally meet you. Though, really, you didn't need to spy on me outside my own door. Chloe's face burned. His voice, smooth, clear, nothing like the choking sounds I'd made. Ethan, can we just stop this? I know I messed up. Let's just go home. I think you got me confused, Miss Sterling. Name's Ethan Vance. You might be a big deal in New York, but I'm not intimidated. Now move. Gasps echoed. Onlookers couldn't believe the Vance heir dared speak to Chloe Sterling like that. But then, his face, a perfect copy of her late husband's, made some sick kind of sense. Chloe didn't budge. You don't have to admit it, Mr. Vance. But why do you rub your nails like my husband? Coincidence. I felt alarm flicker, forced to sneer. One little gesture, and you base your whole theory on that? Pathetic, Miss Sterling. She scanned my face, searching for a crack, a hint, found nothing. Could it really just be a coincidence? Sleepless, she finally drove to the Vance estate. Miss Sterling, I greeted her at the door. We met yesterday. Practically friends. Breakfast. She looked hopeful, and a memory stabbed through me. Me, as Ethan, begging her to eat. The thought hit my chest like a knife. No, thanks, Miss Sterling. We've met once. Heard about your husband. Sympathize with your grief, but you can't latch onto the first guy who looks like him. The hope in her eyes died. Ethan, that's really what you think, she whispered. I feigned annoyance. Enough. New life, new identity, real family. Past 9 years. Just a mission. Ethan Vance is dead. Pathetic you can't let go. Leave now or I call the cops. I pushed her hand away, eyes filled with disgust I didn't need to fake. Chloe looked stabbed. Old Ethan never looked at her like that. Only adoration. A breeze rustled the leaves as I walked off, leaving her frozen in the driveway. If this was a coincidence, why did her gut scream otherwise? She lingered, then made a decision. She'd test me. Her first thought, the burn scar. She arranged a cafe accident, a waiter spilling hot coffee on me. I'm so sorry. Let me buy you a new shirt, she rushed. I grabbed it, went to the fitting room, oblivious the sales associate had been paid off. A moment later, the associate whispered to her, Miss Sterling, he does have a scar on his back. Triumph washed over Chloe. When I emerged, she practically vibrated with excitement. Mr. Vance, you can deny all you want, but you have a scar. My husband had one like it. It's you, right? I was genuinely confused. Then, impressed she'd found a tell, but not ready to admit. What? You spy on people in changing rooms, Miss Sterling? This scar's from a family thing. Ask anyone. Want proof? I lifted my collar. See? The scar. Chloe's face fell. Long, faded pink line, clearly whip, not burn. Hope died. I breathed a quiet sigh. Old scar's gone. New one from a family disciplinary matter, set before my public return. Chloe considered. Maybe I concealed the real scar. Then she remembered my severe pollen allergy. Daily bouquets arrived at my office. Thick, clawing scent. Thought it was her desperate wooing. Then I sneezed violently. Red hives appeared on my neck and elbows. Chloe burst in, shoving past my guards. Eyes lit up at the hives. It's you. Ethan was allergic too. I smiled, shook my head, tilting my neck. Red marks on display. Mosquito bites from last night. Yeah, I was out camping with a date. Totally normal stuff. Chloe frowned hard, clearly not buying it. It all felt way too convenient to just be some random coincidence. But when her assistant later double-checked and confirmed my schedule, she didn't have a leg to stand on. Still, she knew the marks on my neck weren't hives. And the idea of me being with another woman hit her like a knife, sharp, jealous, and ugly. Are you leaving, Miss Sterling? I asked, my tone soaked in sarcasm. This is a private office. Just barging in like this? Kinda trashy, don't you think? The way I stared at her felt like dumping a bucket of ice water straight over her head. Not long after, all of New York's high society was buzzing. The word on the street? Chloe Sterling was straight up obsessed with Ethan Vance. The weirdest part? He looked exactly like her dead husband. Like Dead Ringer. People remembered how I'd once been a stand-in for her first love, and suddenly everything clicked in this twisted, messed up way. Gossip columnists had a blast tearing her apart, cracking jokes about how she clearly had a type. Even her own assistant thought she was just chasing a replacement. After holding it in for way too long, he finally said it. Miss Sterling, he's gone. Finding people who look like him won't bring him back. Chloe's face drained of color, rage flashing through her eyes, and she hurled her tablet across the room. Shut up. Was she really that pathetic, forever chasing shadows and substitutes? Or was she the only one who could see what everyone else was missing? After a long, heavy silence, she finally asked her assistant, torn up inside. Do you think he looks like Ethan? The resemblance is insane, ma'am, he admitted. But they're nothing alike. Their whole vibe is different. I honestly don't know how you could confuse them. Chloe let out a bitter laugh. To everyone else, she probably looked completely unhinged. But she had spent 9 years with me. She trusted her gut. And yet, every single time she tested him, Ethan Vance always had a solid excuse. No cracks. No slips. Then her assistant handed her an invitation to a charity gala for an orphanage. And that's when it hit her. My only family in New York had been the Crofts. Other than them, the orphanage was the only place I truly cared about. If one of those kids got hurt, would I really be able to keep pretending? She didn't waste a second. She had her assistant set up a meeting with me there, playing it off as a discussion about a huge donation. It was Chloe's first time ever stepping inside. She wasn't expecting the noise, the laughter, the joy, the kids running around like the world wasn't cruel at all. Her assistant gave a subtle nod to a boy he'd paid earlier. The kid immediately shoved a smaller boy, Leo, hard to the ground. A scuffle broke out, and Leo was clearly getting wrecked. The second I saw it, my heart shot straight into my throat. At Chloe's signal, none of the adults stepped in. You dragged me all the way out here just to watch a playground brawl, Miss Sterling? I asked, annoyed. Of course not, she replied smoothly. That little boy, Leo, he was my husband's favorite. The moment Leo saw me, he completely broke down. Ethan, help me, he cried. Then, through tears, he started signing. A secret signal, one only he and I knew. My chest twisted painfully. My eyes burned. My hands lifted on instinct, ready to sign back. Then I caught the look on Chloe's face. Pure triumph. I let out a quiet breath, frowned, and turned away. She grabbed my wrist, tight, iron grip. "Why are your eyes red, Mr. Vance?" she asked, victory dripping from every word. Feeling bad for the kid? I yanked my arm free, my stare going ice cold. "Got dust in my eye. I'm not playing your stupid games, Miss Sterling. Your little tests are pointless. Your husband is dead. Deal with it." Her eyes were bloodshot as she stared at me, searching for something. But other than my red-rimmed eyes, nothing. The old Ethan would have run to that boy without hesitation. After a long, brutal silence, she finally dropped her head. Tears blurred her vision. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I was wrong. You can go." Meanwhile, Amelia had been watching all this from the sidelines. Chloe's obsession wasn't exactly subtle. Before I showed up, Chloe was a mess. Now she was throwing herself at a man who looked exactly like me. Was she desperate? Or was there more going on? Amelia brushed her fingers over the urn she still kept. The memory of my cremation burned in her mind. There was no way I could be alive. And yet, Chloe's eyes didn't lie. That kind of love couldn't be fake. She remembered my pulse fading in the ambulance, my body going cold. Her mind went blank. Before she even realized it, she was resting her head against the cool wood of the urn. She sighed. She needed answers. She reached out. "Hello, Mr. Vance. My name is Amelia Hayes. I'd like to meet you, if possible. You look exactly like someone I lost." Hearing her voice, I felt relief wash over me. I knew people from my past would question things, but Amelia? I wasn't scared of her. "Of course, Dr. Hayes," I said calmly. "I've got a feeling we've met before." She was shocked I agreed so fast. Nervous. Excited. Was it really me? Or something else entirely? She booked a meeting at one of New York's most exclusive seaside French restaurants. Quiet. Elegant. Impossible to reserve. She rented out the entire place, ordered flowers, approved the menu. Everything had to be perfect. When I walked in, she was leaning back, staring at the ocean, just as calm as the day I first stepped into her clinic. I smiled and sat across from her. "Dr. Hayes, good to see you." Then I saw the urn in her hands and froze. Even though she'd seen photos, seeing me in person hit different. I looked exactly the same. Only my voice had changed. "Hello," she said softly. "You know, the friend I mentioned. I had him cremated, but I couldn't let go of the ashes. I know he might be mad, but I shook my head gently. After 9 years in that life, I hadn't trusted many people. But Amelia? She'd saved me more than once. "Dr. Hayes," I said quietly, "your friend isn't angry. Because he's sitting right here." Her eyes went wide. The urn slipped and shattered on the floor. After a long moment, her voice trembled. "Ethan," I nodded. "I'm okay. It's been a long time." Her heart raced. A dead man. Back from the grave. New name, new life. None of it made sense, but she didn't care. "How do I know it's really you?" she asked. "What if you're lying? And how can you even talk?" I smiled. "The fact I'm here should be proof enough. As for the rest, that's classified." She stared, then laughed. "Of course it is. Does Chloe know?" I cut my steak, glanced up, and winked. "I don't love her. Whatever she does. Not my problem. I'm Ethan Vance now, not that mute. I did all this for my brother Leo. And yeah, my suffering's finally done." My dramatic delivery made her laugh. And when I said I didn't love Chloe, a wave of happiness hit her hard. This version of me, alive, speaking, smiling, was nothing like the broken man before. She picked up the urn pieces and handed them to me. "Then this is yours." I held the box tightly and looked out at the endless ocean. "You picked one hell of a spot, Dr. Hayes." I stood, opened the box, and walked to the wide-open window, ashes in hand. That's when the restaurant doors slammed open. Chloe stood there, panicked, breathless. She'd almost convinced herself to quit chasing ghosts, but the moment she heard Amelia was meeting me, she couldn't stop herself. We were close. Did that mean Ethan Vance was really me? Then she saw the urn. "No," she screamed. "Those are Ethan's ashes." I turned, laughed, and let go. The box slipped from my hands and fell straight into the ocean below. "Ethan!" Chloe screamed. Pure agony etched across her face. Without a second thought, she just leapt out the window straight into the sea after it. The cold hit her like a punch, and she spotted the wooden box, now soaked through, slowly sinking into the deep. Chloe held her breath and powered down after it, every stroke burning in her muscles. I leaned against the window, watching her vanish beneath the waves. For a split second, I felt something, but it got replaced fast by this sharp sting of bitter irony. She hadn't given a damn when I was alive, but now? Now she'd dive into the ocean for a box of my ashes. Back at the restaurant, Chloe's assistant was freaking out. He never thought his boss would actually jump into the ocean. Help! Somebody help her. Call the Coast Guard. Get divers, he shouted. The restaurant erupted into total chaos. I stayed chill, just gesturing for Amelia to keep eating. Aren't you worried about her? She asked. I shrugged. I'm Ethan Vance, I said. Why should I give a crap about some stranger? Besides, those were my ashes. I can do whatever the hell I want with them. Eventually, they pulled Chloe from the water. She was alive, but unconscious and pale as death. I noticed she was clutching the urn to her chest and quickly looked away. I was about to bounce when her assistant grabbed me. Mr. Vance, why did you throw his ashes away? He demanded. Do you even know how much that urn meant to her? So what? I shot back. His last wish was to have his ashes scattered at sea. He's dead. Why can't your boss just let him rest in peace? He struggled to keep his anger in check, looking me in the eye but failing. She's just emotionally stunted. She really did love him. She was a mess after he died. And when she found out the truth, she punished the Crofts. She's been trying so hard to make things right. I laughed, loud and harsh. Her love? Always for Julian. She treated her devoted husband like he was air. What good was trying to atone to a dead man? Chloe stayed in the hospital, water in her lungs, unconscious for a full day and night. When she woke, she couldn't erase the look in my eyes. Cold, cruel, final. She'd managed to grab the urn, but the ashes? Gone, dissolved into the sea. She was furious, helpless. A coughing fit brought up blood and finally snapped her back to reality. Her health was crumbling, and now there was no one to coax her to take her meds, no one to cook for her picky palate. The man who once loved her wouldn't even leave her his ashes. She stared at the ceiling, eyes burning with unshed tears, letting out a low, broken laugh. She thought about how calm I'd been throwing the urn, how Amelia, who'd guarded it like a hawk, just let it happen. The difference, all the other suspicious details, they all pointed to one conclusion. Ethan Vance was me. Her breathing got ragged. The heart monitor beside her went beep, beep, beep. Her assistant bolted in, terrified, only to find her laughing. Doctor, he yelled. Miss Sterling, you gotta take care of yourself. Even though he's gone, the Crofts are still out there. They're the ones who killed him. You can't die. At his words, Chloe's eyes snapped open. She remembered. If she wanted to prove for real that Ethan Vance was me, she needed Julian Croft. She whispered instructions to her assistant. Moments later, my phone rang. Mr. Vance, she said. I know you're looking for local partners for your new project. Sterling Enterprises can help. My only condition? You meet me at my home in 3 days. I was having dinner with Leo when the call came. At the sound of her voice, a sad look crossed my brother's face. Ethan, is that the woman who hurt you? He asked. Don't see her. People like that aren't worth your time. I smiled, reassuring him. It's fine, Leo. Just business. Don't you trust me? He reluctantly agreed, but insisted I take extra security. 3 days later, I rolled up to the Sterling mansion. Knew the way so well, didn't need anyone to show me. When I saw Chloe, she was alone in a wheelchair, head bowed, the very picture of loneliness. Miss Sterling, I said. I'm here. What did you want to discuss about the partnership? She looked up, and I saw the ring in her hand. Our wedding ring, the one her assistant had randomly picked. I used to like wearing it until one day she saw it and snapped. Don't think that ring makes you my husband. A mute like you should know his place. That was the moment I sobered up. Mission first. No attachments. You're here, Ethan, she rasped. I wanted to give you Julian Croft. A battered, broken Julian was dragged in, barely conscious, but his eyes widened when he saw me. You're Ethan Vance? No, impossible. He's dead. He barely breathed. I looked at Chloe, amusement twinkling in my eyes. So you're convinced I'm your dead husband, and this is your revenge plan? Her heart pounded. She nodded. I swallowed the denial itching on my tongue. After the ashes stunt and all her tests, she wouldn't quit. Then I thought of little Leo's bruised face at the orphanage. Resolve hardened. All right, I said. Mr. Croft has quite a history tormenting Ethan Vance. False accusations, whippings, burns. Each word drained color from Chloe's face. I nodded to my security, who quickly gagged and bound Julian. Let's give him a taste of his own medicine. Ethan would approve. For hours, the only sounds were Julian's muffled sobs. Chloe stood silently, stealing nervous glances at my profile. Doing this in front of her was my silent admission. I was him. The question, would I forgive her? I stretched lazily, tilted her chin up. Fear and hope warred in her eyes. Miss Sterling, I said, I got a whole new life, and you still chase me. You want me to forgive you? Her pupils shrunk. Ethan, I pressed a finger to her lips. I hold a grudge. Julian only treated that mute like that because you let him. You were an accomplice. You have no idea how much he suffered when he died. You don't. Which means, Chloe, your love is worthless. A tear slid down. She dropped to her knees, voice raw. Ethan, please, give me a chance. I was never pregnant. Julian drugged me, faked it all to force a divorce. I never wanted it. Everything I did to make you love me. Please, I'll give you anything. The partnership, Sterling Enterprises, all of it. A sharp pain shot through me, but I smiled, shaking her fingers from my arm. Ethan Vance is dead. You killed him. I won't forgive you in his place. Chloe stared, mouth tasting metallic, sick. True. The mute she knew wasn't made of stone. Of course he'd be angry. She wanted to atone, no chance for me. She looked at me, helpless. She had no clue what I'd gone through to come back, to regain my voice. All she could do was watch me walk away, just like she once walked away from me, for Julian. She turned to look at Julian's bloody mess, a wave of desolation washing over her. I didn't take a car. I walked. Familiar scenery. 9 years of walking this road. Every tree memorized. At the edge of the city, a beggar scrambled toward me. Sir, please, you have to help us. My daughter's arm is broken. Please spare some money. The voice familiar. I took a closer look and realized it was Mrs. Croft. Ethan Vance, you're alive? She shrieked, losing her mind. This is all your fault. You faked your death and Chloe went completely nuts. She took everything from us. Everything. The Croft family is bankrupt now. Are you happy? My name is Ethan Vance. You've got the wrong guy, I said, shaking my head as I tried to walk away. But she grabbed onto my leg like her life depended on it. That's when Mr. Croft showed up, dragging a busted-up makeshift cart. Lying on top of it, barely breathing, was Isabella. I don't believe you, Mrs. Croft wailed. You're my son. I know my own son's face. You have to help us. Help your sister. You can't just leave us here to die. I looked down at the three of them, broken, desperate, pathetic, and felt nothing but pure disgust. When they first took me in, Isabella had bullied me non-stop, beating me whenever she felt like it, while her parents looked the other way. I had been too young and too timid to fight back. This was karma. Plain and simple. Let go of me, or I'm calling the police. I snapped, yanking my leg free. The noise woke Isabella. The second she saw me, she started sobbing. Brother, please help us. We're family. Please. I'll never hurt you again. I swear. I frowned. I remembered how she used to worship Julian, how she tormented me just to please him, and how ridiculously pitiful she looked now. You've got the wrong person. My name is Ethan Vance. The man you're talking about was mute. I pulled out my phone. Hello, 911. I'm being harassed and extorted by a group of vagrants. I watched as the police dragged all three of them away. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Ethan Vance, you monster. Mrs. Croft screamed from the police car. We're your parents. You'll rot in hell for this, you bastard. I'll kill you, Isabella shrieked. As their curses faded into the distance, a deep sense of satisfaction settled in my chest. It felt good. Really good. My assistant looked at me like he didn't know what to make of all this. He noticed the dozens of missed calls from Chloe on my phone and hesitated before answering one. The Crofts found your boss, didn't they? Chloe's voice came through. Send me his police statement. I already have enough evidence to make sure they never see daylight again. My assistant glanced at me. I gave a small nod. He let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. He couldn't understand why the late Mr. Vance's family and wife all insisted that their new boss was the same man. The whole thing was weird as hell to him. When I later saw the sentencing report for the Crofts, I smiled. 2 15-year sentences and 1 life sentence. The thought of them rotting in a cell for the rest of their miserable lives was insanely satisfying. But Chloe didn't quit. Once she was certain of my identity, she launched a full-blown obsession campaign. Every single day, a bouquet of perfect handmade velvet roses showed up at my office. thoughtfully chosen to avoid my allergies. Each one came with a handwritten note. Ethan, I was wrong. Please, just give me one more chance. Coffee and pastries waited for me at the end of every day. After a week, even the receptionist who used to toss the gifts started hesitating. No matter where I went, Chloe somehow arranged a coincidental social event just so she could run into me. Her friends started teasing her. You were never this devoted to Julian or that mute guy. He was the one chasing you. I've never seen you chase a man this hard. Chloe just gave a bitter smile and knocked back another glass of wine. Across the room, I was schmoozing with the old sharks of New York's business world. One of them lifted his glass, smirking. I'm well aware of the Vance family's influence. Absolute powerhouse. Ever considered a strategic marriage alliance? The room went dead quiet. Chloe's grip tightened around her glass. No, I said with an easy smile. Honestly, I've got more admirers than I know what to do with. A strategic alliance isn't really my thing. The crowd laughed, but for Chloe, it hit like a knife straight to the heart. Her friend nudged her. Looks like you've got your work cut out for you. I mean, sure, he's a powerful CEO, but you're a widow with a reputation for being difficult and picky. He might not even be interested. With every word, the color drained from Chloe's face. Panic took over. The idea of me with another woman was suffocating. So when the event ended, she cornered me, ignoring all the stares. Ethan, did you say that just to hurt me? I know how much you used to love me. Please, just give me a chance to fix everything. She finally broke down, sobbing right in front of me. I'll do anything if you forgive me. Please don't ignore me. I leaned down, a cruel thought forming in my mind. Fine. Then you can be my devoted follower, Miss CEO. After all, you should already know exactly what I like. And just like that, a bizarre new chapter in New York high society began. At every business meeting, Chloe was there, drinking every glass of alcohol handed to me, even if it landed her in the hospital. At parties, she followed me everywhere. Once, when I lost a dare, she volunteered to take my punishment, barking like a dog. The guests were horrified. I just laughed and nodded in approval. At one dinner, I casually mentioned I preferred a softer look and suggested she get plastic surgery. She agreed instantly. No hesitation. To most people, her behavior was shocking. To her oldest friends, it was disturbingly familiar. Chloe, one of them said, wasn't your mute admirer doing all this same stuff for you back then? Guess the tables really turned. They expected her to snap, but she only nodded, eyes full of sadness. How? She asked quietly. How do you make someone you destroyed love you again? Her friends were stunned. They'd known her for 20 years and had never seen her like this. Chloe, stop. There are plenty of other men out there. Shut up, Chloe snapped. He's different. This is my fault. No one argued after that. They just watched as she kept making clumsy, desperate attempts to win my affection. After her latest hospital stay, she showed up with a new face. The sharp, icy beauty was gone, replaced with something softer, though her smile looked stiff and unnatural. She started cooking for me, even showing up at my family home to beg my brother Leo for lessons. Mr. Vance, please teach me, she pleaded. I need to apologize to Ethan. He cooked for me for years. I want to finally learn what he likes. The first time Leo saw her, he was furious. This was the woman who had tortured his brother. But she kept coming back. When he heard about all the humiliating things she was doing for me, pity slowly crept in. She had been spoiled her whole life. Even basic cooking was hard for her. Still, she never complained, not even when she burned her hands. Her food was awful at first, but she forced herself to eat every bite. She learned I preferred vegetarian meals and started planning balanced dishes. Once, she badly cut her finger and quietly wrapped it herself. Listening to Leo's updates, I felt a mix of scorn and surprise. I was humiliating her for revenge, but I never planned to take her back. Ever. So the next day, I accepted a date with another woman and made sure to come home late. Chloe was still waiting in the dining room. I deliberately stood her up. She forced a smile when she saw me. Ethan, you're back. Did work run late? Her voice faded when she noticed the love bite on my neck and the cut on my lip. I frowned, bored out of my mind. It's nothing, and you don't need to come here anymore. I'm done with this game. We're over. Ethan, please don't send me away, she begged. I cooked all your favorites. Please, just stay away from other women. I laughed and shook my head. And who are you to ask that? My wife? Or just my pathetic admirer? Chloe bit her lip, silent. Memories flashed, every time she'd come home marked, and how I'd never cared. Her lips trembled as she finally asked, "Ethan, all those years, did you really stay with me for 9 years because you loved me?" I burst out laughing, my voice dripping with mockery. "You really thought I was crazy in love with you? Nah, I only stayed to save my brother. I have zero interest in being anyone's backup plan. Fake love is easy when you're empty inside." In that one brutal second, every so-called advantage Chloe thought she had got completely wiped out. Her amber eyes filled with straight-up disbelief. And somehow, it all clicked in the worst way possible. If I never truly loved her, then yeah, walking away would be effortless. Meanwhile, she was the one who caught feelings and got wrecked by them. Chloe left my house within days. But she wasn't ready to throw in the towel. Memories of our 9 years together, years she now remembered as happy, kept flashing through her head, and she suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. "Find out who that woman with Ethan was today," she snapped at her assistant. "Bring her to me." Her assistant sighed, but nodded. Chloe's head was already pounding when she was shown a photo of me kissing a woman named Sarah. That's when she completely lost it. "I'm telling you to stay away from Ethan Vance. He's taken," Chloe warned. Sarah, who'd been confused a second ago, just laughed. "He hasn't claimed you, has he, Miss Sterling? From where I'm standing, we're just rivals, and I'm way younger than you. Plus, he definitely didn't turn me down last night." Chloe's face burned red with rage. "What will it take for you to leave him alone?" 10 million. Name your price." Sarah only smiled, a nasty, predator-level smile. "You've got money, Miss Sterling, but so does my family. And I'm really looking forward to becoming Mrs. Vance." At that last word, Chloe broke free from her security and launched herself at Sarah. The two women went at it, full chaos, and it took both security teams to tear them apart. Amelia, who'd just gotten back from a month-long business trip overseas, was stunned when she heard what happened. Her cousin Sarah had been chasing me, and had ended up in a physical fight with Chloe. She didn't say a word, but irritation hit her hard. After thinking it over, she finally called me. "Ethan, about my cousin. She was just a decoy to get Chloe off my back," I said, cutting her off. "I'm guessing you're calling because Chloe hit her. I'll pay all the medical bills and cover the trouble. Don't worry." "No, that's not it," Amelia said quietly. I wondered why you didn't ask me for help. Ethan, can you give me a chance? A real chance. With you." I sucked in a sharp breath. Amelia was confessing. She'd always been a good friend, but nothing more. "I'm sorry, Amelia. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. We're friends. Please tell your cousin the compensation's on the way." I hung up without another word. Amelia lowered her head, helplessness washing over her. She knew I was cold, distant, but somewhere along the line, she'd fallen for me. The very next day, I called a meeting with the Vanguard Group's board and laid out a hostile takeover of Sterling Enterprises. They saw the plan was solid and backed me 100%. I immediately started dismantling our joint ventures and aggressively stealing their clients. At first, Chloe didn't take it seriously. Then she flat out refused to believe it. "Ethan, why are you trying to destroy my company?" she demanded. "No reason," I replied coldly. "I stood by you for 9 years. I know every dirty little secret Sterling Enterprises has. This is just business." She laughed at my tone, convinced I couldn't really be that ruthless. But over the next few days, scandals exploded, bloated construction costs, fake safety reports, insider trading. Chloe fought hard to control the damage, but the stock tanked, bleeding billions. On her way to confront me, her car was forced off the road. A wild-eyed, disheveled Julian Croft dragged her from the wreckage, a twisted grin on his face as he stabbed her in the stomach. "Payback, Chloe," he cackled. "I heard Sterling Enterprises is about to collapse. All thanks to that bastard, Ethan. Oh, and did I mention I escaped? That's on you. You handed me over to that monster. You loved him so much, and he doesn't give a damn about you. Hurts, doesn't it? Guess we're both getting what we deserve." Julian's scarred face looked straight up demonic in the dim light. He laughed and bolted. Chloe lay bleeding on the pavement until one of her own employees found her unconscious in the parking garage. By the time she reached the hospital, she was barely hanging on. When I heard about her accident, I moved fast. I rallied the Sterling shareholders loyal to me, and within a week, the acquisition was done. Chloe stayed in a coma for 2 weeks. When she woke up, she'd lost a leg and was stuck in a wheelchair. Her lungs were so damaged, she needed a ventilator just to breathe. Her assistant couldn't bring himself to tell her the company was gone, but she saw it on the news. Me, at a press conference, announced as the head of the merged corporation. She never thought I could be that heartless. But deep down, she got it. I wasn't the same man she'd once bullied into silence. I'd been reborn, and she couldn't keep up anymore. Soon after, she lost her voice completely. Doctors said a blood clot from the attack was pressing on her vocal cords. Chloe finally understood what it meant to be mute. She had to type on her phone to communicate, just like I had for all those years. Only then did she start to grasp the frustration and pain I'd lived with. During the entire month she was hospitalized, I never once visited. Her mansion was foreclosed. Her shares were seized. When she was discharged, she had no option but to move into a cramped rental she once would have laughed at. Struggling to clean that tiny apartment, a news alert popped up on her phone. Tears filled her eyes as she read the headline. Vanguard CEO Ethan Vance steps down, moves abroad for new ventures. Dr. Amelia Hayes reportedly joins him. The article showed a photo of us smiling at the airport gate. A sharp pain tore through Chloe's chest. She finally admitted the truth. I was happy without her, and she'd lost me forever. When her former assistant found her, she was already cold. The autopsy said a massive stroke. With no living relatives left, he called me. "Mr. Vance," he said quietly. "Miss Sterling has passed. I wanted to ask about the funeral." I sighed. It was a sad ending. I arranged a proper burial. It felt like the bare minimum after 9 years together. That chapter of my life was done. Ethan Vance was a ghost of the past. With Chloe gone, I was finally free to live my own life for